Howdy, everybody. Welcome back to the TexAgs Rewind, a Thursday edition of TexAgs Live. We ended, as we always do, with Roy May and Matt Browning, the fan show. We also had Aaron Torres, Ryan Swope, and Stephen McGee. Aggie legends?
Yeah.
Yes.
More legendary than Olin Buchanan?
No.
Depending on who you ask.
No.
And then we were joined in the 10 o'clock hour by head baseball coach Michael Earley as the Aggie baseball team gets ready for their scrimmage exhibition, 12 innings against Sam Houston State on Friday night. Here's the rewind.
Fernando Mendoza, the Indiana quarterback, followed up that spectacular performance. Spectacular. We'll agree with that.
Yes.
Against Illinois, which may or may not be a drag. Any team coached by Brett Bielema, there's going to be that question. But they weren't a drag that week. They were number 9. And he followed that up with, let's face it, a rather pedestrian showing against Iowa. They did win 15-10. He passed for 233 yards. No, that's not pedestrian. That's solid. Solid's a better description. That 233 yards and 2 touchdowns, rushed for 26 on the season. Mendoza, 1,208 passing yards, 16 touchdowns. He's rushed for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Big drive late, too, because a loss to Iowa would have hammered his Heisman Trophy candidacy. Because, Dregs, this schedule is a joke. This Indiana schedule is a joke.
Until they played Illinois. They've
got Oregon and Penn State. We'll see what happens.
I did not have Fernando Mendoza in my top 5 rankings until the Illinois game. Why? Because they've been playing dregs. All right. Number 3.
Big Ten's got a lot of dregs.
I got a new guy in this one. Number 3. Trinidad Chambliss. 3. Trinidad. See where that works. Transfer from Ferris State, wherever the hell that is. I think it's in Michigan. Anyway. He's only started 3 games, but he's been spectacular in them last week. 314 passing yards, and he rushed for 71 yards in that 24-19 win over LSU and that vaunted defense of LSU. Vaunted, even if Bronny questions
TBD on vaunted.
I agree. He's exceeded 300 passing yards in every game he has started. He's thrown for 1,033 yards, 5 touchdowns, rushed for 266 and 2 touchdowns. Trinidad Chambliss makes the list this week.
He should. Yeah. I believe he should.
Obviously, I do too. Number 2 on my list, I have him number 2. Bronny, I think, once more, and he is. Dante Moore, I'm giving you that too. Oregon quarterback. I've been waiting for him to play somebody of substance. I'm sorry, Oregon State and Oklahoma State, if it's OSU, unless it's Ohio State, it's not substance. So, and they got OSU sometime. Anyway, he came in with a respectable opponent and led Oregon to a 30-24 overtime victory over Penn State. He threw for 248 yards, 3 touchdowns. Did one of those touchdown passes come in overtime?
Yeah, they got after it. It was they didn't have the point production they wanted to, but with all the penalties and whatnot. But the yardage production was phenomenal. I mean, this offensive line ate. It was great to see Le'Veon Moss. That dude is an animal, And then Marcel used his legs and at times very wisely getting out of bounds there right before allowing your team an extra play and the field goal attempts. But look, man, this football team is dynamic. They have a lot of different ways they can attack you. I think the thing that was best to see is this defense really put on a show and showed that they could play at a high level. And I think now you're learning that this football team can win in different ways, right? Offense doesn't have to have the point production. Defense can get it done.
I think the goal for any coach in any sport is to have a club that can play the entire game. However you need us to play, we can play and win. We play the whole game, and that's a good point that you just brought up. I want to ask you about the penalties. That's something you also mentioned. How much of this is correctable in a week? Because I think obviously pre- and post-snap could be fixed like that to a much better degree than once the ball is snapped, you have to be cleaner with your hands, that kind of stuff. But how much can you expect the penalties to be cleaned up from last week to this week?
I think there's a couple in there that you would say are probably more the mental side, right? But penalties are going to happen, and they're effort plays. I've never had a issue with those. Like guys are just playing hard, and they get a flag thrown on a hold or whatnot. Those don't kill you. It's those post-snap personal foul penalties, the roughing the kicker. And I, honestly, not to be Aggie guy here and being biased, but I felt like a couple of them really were not great calls.
Actually, both of them on 17.
Albert
were I thought bogus.
Yeah, the take. Like I didn't even in slow motion. It didn't look egregious.
I thought it was just the momentum of the play.
I didn't fully. That one was a little bit perplexing, but the unfortunate part about the penalties this last week, where they were incredibly penalizing, they took huge plays off the board.
Yeah, they were drive killers and drive extenders for Auburn.
Yeah, and
Le'Veon Moss, Reuben Owens, the whole gambit, and they did it in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and you really saw Le'Veon commit to his own in this game. They used him the way they wanted to use him. I would have liked to see them use him more in the fourth quarter instead of throwing those screens out there and all that stuff and putting yourself in a bad position at the end of the game. Just run the ball. They couldn't stop 8 from running the football. So, I mean, what he brings to the table, and the other running backs are good players too. I thought the line did a really good job. Obviously, there's some things to clean up with the false starts and all that business. And some of the holds, obviously were an issue. Some of the holds I don't agree with at all from the officiating, and some of them I do. I'll talk about that later on. And then on defense, they dominated the game, right? So the defensive line dominated the game. And 21 played a great game at linebacker. He had to be 50% of the tackles. And so I just thought our defensive line just dominated. So, and, if you look at Auburn themselves, I mean, they really were not impressive at all. Like on third down, they were 0 for 13.
Yeah.
So they couldn't convert one time on third down. And the packages that Mike puts in there on third down are very difficult to block, but they struggled to get targeted. Just some of the things they did, they didn't turn the ball over either. Like, they played a sound game that way, but they couldn't do anything. The quarterback couldn't convert. Time of possession, the Aggies had the ball 34 minutes. Auburn had the ball 25 minutes. I mean, all those things are going to win you football games. Auburn, we had 5 sacks. Auburn, we actually gave up 4 sacks in that game. And that's something that can be cleaned up as well. Early in the season with a quarterback like we have, that stuff's going to happen. But the big thing for them is, like on offense, you really have like every dimension covered, right? You have a quarterback that can run, a quarterback that can throw. You have a really good running game with your running back number 8 and the other guys, and then the line's doing a good job. And then, of course, your receivers are deadly.
And Old Face returns and Travis Chestnut. What was that like as he was going through the process to file for the waiver for an extra year? And was it always going to be Texas A&M or the job market for Travis?
Yeah, he had a lot of other schools on him. Like,
okay.
I mean, some big time Power 4 schools. Why wouldn't you? I mean, with what he's shown he can do at this level and with that speed component, but it was always A&M for him. It was a real, he visited and it took about an hour and he was all in. And I think the coolest part about him was the reaction of the guys that played with him before when they heard he was coming back. Like, it was a unanimous, like, super fired up. And he's a great kid, man, and love having him around. And we've kind of had to get him back into that mode of what it is at this level, and just naturally he's playing at a different level, and just what a weird, incredible circumstance that he was not allowed to play on my team last year, but he's allowed to play on my team this year. I'm just really glad to have him back in the building.
It's more evidence that the rules are very
arbitrary, right?
Arbitrary, very thinly veiled as rules.
He's done a great job, though. We've mainly had him at second base. We know he can play center field when we need it, but it's going to be second center field. That there's not a team in the country that doesn't want a player like Travis Chestnut on your team. It just depends on how you use him.
Yeah, and late in the game, man, what kind of value he has. For whatever reason, opposing defenses see him on the bases and they just speed up.
Yeah.
And there's so many kind of unforced errors. He's not even doing anything and the ball gets kicked away because they're in a hurry. I think it was a big addition to your roster.
And I think for him, I'm like, he needs to understand, and I'm not saying he knows, because he'll understand, but like what success is for him, it's how many times you get on base. Mm-hmm. And that's your on base percentage / I told him yesterday, if you go 0 for 4, but you made the defense hurry and make 4 errors and you got on base, for Coach Earley, that's 4 for 4.
Yeah.
And so his ability to get on base, you got to construct a lineup in a way where it can't be all slug. It can't be all on base percent. You need someone to hit him when they get in.
Right.
And it can't be all speed, right? And he brings that component of, I need you to get on base.
All right, you guys take it away. I'll say like,
share, subscribe,
comment, all the things that help with the algorithm. Shameless plug here. I'm a shameless human being at times. Don't forget to join us on the B team, 4:15 to 5:45, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. We're going to do a bit today. I think Luke's going to make us eat really hot food. We'll be right up Roy's alley.
Oh.
I think Roy, from what I understand, though, Roy's going to be a little bit busy this afternoon.
If I showed up, it would be downgraded to the C team, though. See, that's the problem.
Hey, shameless plug. Call Browning Roofing for all your roofing.
Everybody, what do you got? Sell a house.
Hey, Bach Realty Group, baby. If you have any real estate needs, let's go.
I don't even know. We're probably demonetized now. See you on Friday.